Sounding Fluent.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are again every Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, at 1 p.m. on Sounding Fluent. I'm Sexit Pitchin Alert. In today's episode, I don't want to beat around the bush, so I'm gonna start right out the bat with the news. Dr. Natwarapon Ratsiri Wacharabun, President of RMUTP, and Phitburi Governor Mr. Nattachai Nampoon Suksan agreed to build cooperation by signing an MOU to discuss joint efforts on grassroots schemes dedicated to improving the area and the lives of local residents. Taking place at the City Hall, Phitburi Province, the ceremony was witnessed by Dr. Danut Tanthut, Secretary of the Minister of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation, including both RMUTP Executive Board members and administrative staff of Phitburi Provincial Hall. The MOU provides for a number of areas of cooperation focusing on taking full advantage of the region's existing cultural capital, which constitutes one of the country's most precious treasures, fostering the region's economic and social prosperity, establishing a framework for academic and research collaboration, as well as offering the local residents an opportunity to further their studies, to earn at least a bachelor's degree or to become a master's degree candidate, in hope that they will eventually be able to assume leadership roles to serve the province. Alright, previously I shared tips and tricks on how to become a fluent English speaker in just 1 year. If you happen to miss the first episode of mine, I recommend you go check it out real quick on our YouTube channel. Search RMUTP English Online. You should find it, or on our website at englishonline.rmutp.ac.th. Today's topic may be irrelevant to the name of the show, but in a way, it's still relatable, so I'm gonna dive into it anyway. The main reason why I chose to talk about what I'm about to talk about is due to the very fact that I happened to listen to a song that I used to listen to a while ago. As soon as I heard it a second time around, strange but true, I could remember all the details of what was happening when I first heard it. I mean, I could feel everything as if I were actually there. There's nothing but one word that best describes this phenomenon, and that is nostalgia. 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 But first, a huge thank you goes to southampton.ac.uk, webmd.com, and hbr.org for all the information in today's episode. Nostalgia involves past-oriented cognition and a mixed affective signature. The emotion is often triggered by encountering a familiar smell, sound, or keepsake, by engaging in conversations, or by feeling lonely. When waxing nostalgic, one remembers, thinks about, reminisces about, or dwells on a memory from one's past, typically a fond, personally meaningful memory, such as one's childhood or a close relationship. One often views the memory through rose-tinted glasses, misses that time or person, longs for it, or may even wish to return to the past. As a result, one typically feels emotional, most often happy but with a sense of loss and longing. Other less common feelings include comfort, calm, regret, sadness, pain, or an overall sense of bittersweetness. Nostalgia confers psychological benefits. When engaging in nostalgic reflection, people report a stronger sense of belongingness, affiliation, or sociality. They convey higher continuity between their past and their present. They describe their lives as more meaningful, and they often indicate higher levels of self-esteem and positive mood. Although nostalgic engagement, especially when it is carried out habitually and excessively, may not be beneficial to all, it is in general a resource on which people can capitalize to harness strength, a resource that allows them to cope more effectively with the vicissitudes of life. Some of you may wonder why we experience nostalgia. In addition to renewing appreciation for the past, nostalgia also sparks hopefulness for the future. This makes it a valuable psychological resource. The reason why people experience nostalgia varies depending on the type of nostalgia. Nostalgia can be divided into two categories: historical nostalgia and personal nostalgia. Historical nostalgia happens when a person pines for a time or society that may predate their own existence. Research suggests that historical nostalgia may be more likely to signify that you are unhappy with the present. Personal nostalgia happens when someone revisits personal memories or longs for moments from their own life. When comparing historical and personal nostalgia, one study found that the latter makes people feel warmth, tenderness, elation, loss, and regret more intensely. One study found that participants reported higher nostalgia when they were told they'd be alone in the future, versus participants who were told they could look forward to fulfilling relationships. The study authors correlated increased nostalgia with deficient feelings of belonging and drew a connection between nostalgia and neuroticism. Nostalgia can be described as a bittersweet state of mind because remembering the quote-unquote good old days also reinforces that the good old days are gone. Luckily for the nostalgia prone, the pros of nostalgia generally outweigh the cons. Here are some of the benefits linked to nostalgia. Despite nostalgia's inherent focus on past events, it actually provides fuel for the future. Nostalgia triggers emotions, behaviors, and goals that can positively impact the following aspects of life. Emotions. Nostalgia can result in a bevy of positive emotional states, including increased optimism and inspiration, boosts self-esteem and feelings of purpose and youthfulness. Nostalgia can also provide a restorative outlet in uncertain, stressful, or overwhelming situations. Behavior. Nostalgia can be an effective motivator, both inspiring you and driving you to act on that inspiration. For instance, one study found that nostalgia-induced optimism about physical health resulted in increased physical activity. Another study, after citing nostalgia as a primary coping mechanism during the COVID-19 pandemic, found that it's also feeling a resurgence in post-pandemic leisure travel. Social cognition. Nostalgia can encourage you to solve interpersonal issues, reconnect with old friends, and prioritize the important relationships in your life. Overall, nostalgia serves to strengthen feelings of social connectedness that are vital to the human experience. Creativity. Studies have found that nostalgia fosters creativity. Participants in one study produced more creative prose in writing when experiencing nostalgia. Openness to experience determined nostalgia's influence on their creativity levels. At healthy levels, it's clear that nostalgia boasts both psychological and physical health benefits. But is there such a thing as too much nostalgia? Like many human emotions, nostalgia can become unhealthy if you let it take over. After all, spending too much time reliving your quote-unquote glory days can make it tough to appreciate your todays. But as long as you maintain your grasp on the present and anticipation for the future, nostalgia can be your ally. Here's to nostalgia propelling you toward a tomorrow worth reminiscing about. Many people assume that nostalgia is purely entertainment, a feeling individuals enjoy because it takes them back to the more carefree days of their youth. Some view it as maladaptive fixation on the past, perhaps indicating a fear of change. Business analysts and leaders argue that, although nostalgia may help some companies sell consumers a range of products, it's ultimately bad for business and the economy. They imagine that by keeping people focused on the past, nostalgia undermines innovation, creativity, and ultimately progress. From that perspective, There's little reason for managers to view nostalgia as having value within their organizations. However, a growing body of research reveals that it's an important psychological resource that helps individuals cope with life stressors, build strong relationships, find and maintain meaning in life, and become more creative and inspired. Managers can use the power of nostalgia to help their organizations thrive. First, managers need to understand how nostalgia actually works. When people engage in nostalgia, they're accessing personally meaningful autobiographical events, typically shared with family, friends, and other close connections. It isn't just a happy trip down memory lane. In fact, nostalgia reflection often involves both negative and positive emotional states. Critically, it tends to follow a redemptive sequence in which negative feelings such as longing and loss give way to positive feelings such as happiness, social connectedness, gratitude, and hope. In other words, nostalgia is bittersweet, but more sweet than bitter. Nostalgia can be triggered by explicit reminders of the past, such as running into an old friend or hearing music from one's youth. But people also often become nostalgic when they're feeling down or distressed in some way. Common psychological triggers of nostalgia include feelings of sadness, loneliness, meaninglessness, uncertainty, and boredom. These negative psychological states increase nostalgia because nostalgia is restorative. Nostalgia is best described as a self-regulatory existential resource that people naturally and frequently use to navigate stress and uncertainty and find the motivation needed to move forward with purpose and focus. The impact of nostalgia on meaning is particularly important because meaning in life has great motivational power. Research finds that nostalgia motivates the pursuit of important life goals by increasing that sense of meaning. Humans are an existential species. To flourish, we need to make meaningful social connections and feel like we're contributing to the world in a way that matters. Nostalgia serves these existential endeavors. Here are 3 reasons for managers to bring this adaptive feature of human psychology into their organizations, including ways to do it. Nostalgia can help build strong relationships and teams. Social bonds are a central feature of nostalgia. Most nostalgic memories involve other people, and when individuals reflect on these memories, they feel more socially connected and supported. Managers can take advantage of nostalgia's social nature to promote strong relationships in teams. Encouraging employees to share nostalgic stories with team members may help them build deeper connections because nostalgia orients people toward social goals. For example, having research participants spend a few minutes reflecting on a nostalgic memory compared to an ordinary autobiographical memory, like grocery shopping or driving to work, increased their desire to pursue social goals such as forming deep relationships and made them more confident that they could successfully achieve those goals. They also became more confident that they could overcome social conflicts. When people are experiencing higher levels of nostalgia, they're more interested in working on tasks with others, and nostalgia has been shown to increase empathy for others and pro-social behavior in the forms of volunteering and charitable donations. Research also finds that when people are part of a group, nostalgia for an event shared within it makes people more committed to the group. Nostalgia brings the social self online. It increases social agency and directs that agency toward helping others and strengthening social and group bonds. Given the importance of positive relationships and effective teams for both the health of individual employees and the organization, Managers should explore ways to incorporate nostalgia into team building activities, as well as social events like workplace celebrations and retreats. For example, create a retro music playlist by asking employees to submit nostalgia-themed song requests. This will give employees of different ages and with different experiences the opportunity to revisit their own nostalgic memories, which energizes the desire to connect with others. It will also inspire them to share these memories with others, which helps build deeper connections and increase nostalgia in others. Indeed, research finds that exposure to other people's nostalgic memories increases one's own nostalgia and all the associated psychological benefits. In other words, nostalgia is contagious. Nostalgia can help make work feel meaningful and reduce turnover. As an existential resource, nostalgia helps people maintain and enhance meaning in the present. When they reflect on past meaningful experiences, they become motivated to prioritize meaning in the present. Managers can tap into this existential resource to help employees find meaning at work. This may be particularly useful for those experiencing burnout. A series of studies found that when workers were prompted to reflect on experiences within their organization that made them nostalgic, they subsequently reported a greater sense of meaning at work and lower turnover intentions. These effects were most pronounced among employees reporting high levels of burnout. By encouraging employees to revisit meaningful memories created within the organization, managers can help the ones experiencing stress and burnout reconnect with what made their jobs meaningful in the past, which can provide guidance for how to restore meaning at work in the present. Developing organizational social rituals and traditions can help create organizational nostalgia in the first place. It's an investment in the future. For example, organizations could hold monthly game nights, potluck dinners, movie screenings, book clubs, or other events that provide employees the opportunity to form meaningful social memories shared with other members of the organization. When an organization is undergoing major changes that cause anxiety, interpersonal conflict, or other negative experiences, organizational nostalgia may prove to be a vital resource. Nostalgia can help organizations be more creative and inspired. Managers looking to cultivate outside-the-box thinking can also take advantage of nostalgia. A workplace that encourages employees to both share nostalgic memories and make new ones with their coworkers primes the pump of creativity. People are more likely to feel comfortable taking risks and exploring new ideas when they feel socially supported, energized, and confident. Nostalgia generates these states and can thus offer a way to orient employees toward creative thinking and problem solving. Across 3 studies, researchers found that having individuals spend several minutes writing about a nostalgic memory made them feel more open-minded and creative, and critically made them produce more creative content. Nostalgia also makes people feel more inspired. Managers should look for opportunities to introduce nostalgia in ways they believe will best fit their organizational environment and culture. Whether it be having people write about a nostalgic memory, reading accounts of other people's nostalgic memories, reading song lyrics that make them nostalgic, listening to nostalgic music, watching nostalgic music videos, looking at old photographs, visiting nostalgia-themed websites, creating scrapbooks, or engaging in activities using augmented reality technology. What's most important is that managers appreciate that meaningfully connecting the present to the past via nostalgia can help them and their employees have the mindset and motivation needed to productively work toward future-oriented individual and organizational goals. And that brings me to the end of today's episode. I hope it encourages and inspires you as much as it did me. This is RMUTP English Online. I'm Sexy Pitchin Alert. See you next week. Peace.
Understanding Fluent.